Taking it further, friends, we know the famous F.W. Taylor in the scientific management movement. He was the first to recognize the importance of human element. Remember the first one, the historical chapter on the history of management, which we did in Principles of Management. We talked about F.W. Taylor being the father of scientific management. And in his treatment of the whole, the research paper, he spoke about the importance of the human element. How human being at the machine is going to be a compounding factor. He did not talk about motivation, but he talked about the leverage which human beings have. When I was able to make one table manually, with the machine I can make 20 tables, 100 tables, and I can compound it because there is something in me that is more than even the machines. I'll repeat. When I made a table alone manually, I could make only one table. But with the machine, I could make 20 tables, 40 tables, and so on and so forth. But my capacity was more than the machine. At that point of time, we thought that the machine is controlling people. Today we know that people can manipulate machines and get things done. The human consciousness is expanding today. In the global working, we find that people are stretching themselves as far as intellectual capital is concerned. And when they do that, what happens? They are able to make machines work for them. Machines don't make them work for them. We see a lot of science fiction movies, isn't it? In that they show how machines take over the earth. That's a myth. I believe I've seen and I keep seeing a lot of science fiction movies of this nature. And I believe that the human mind's expansiveness is so high that at no point of time machines can ever take over the world. They cannot take over because there will still remain a certain aspect of human beings, mysterious aspect of human beings, which will actually prevent such a thing from happening. Because the human being's resourcefulness is far more than machines. That part of it is what makes behavior very mysterious. He improved working conditions, simplified operations, eliminated waste and improved housekeeping. This is the fallout or the outcome of F.W. Taylor's scientific management process. As a result, productivity improved. The concept of division of labor and work measurement emerged. He also suggested scientific methods of training and development to improve productivity. Taking it further, the human relations movement also gave rise to behavioral thinkers and social scientists. Like I told you, at one point of time, it was important for us to manufacture more and more goods so that the economy boomed. From deficit, we had to come to surplus. At that point of time, the human mind did not matter, the human health did not matter. People had to work to come out of the basic requirement, the basic discomfort into an area of prosperity. Now, once you become a little comfortable, that's the time you and I think about, buying a jacket or buying an iPad and things like that. All those other things come later. Then we also start thinking about the way we look. We have to go to beauty parlor, we have to go to a gym. All those things start coming a little later, behavioral part. So when organizations started producing goods and they started running in the way production was going up, there came a time that they had to realize that machines do not have brains, machines do not have mind, machines do not have emotions, but the people who run machines have emotions. And it was seen certain labor issues started emanating. Boredom came in, accidents happened in some cases, and we also absenteeism started coming in. Certain behavioral aspects of people started emerging visibly in front of people at the workplace. That's the time when behavioral scientists came and they said, look, don't take this man for granted. Man as a resource, he needs to be treated differently. We need to have certain things happening. We know about the Gantt chart. We have learned in Principles of Management. We know about Thurbriggs. Frank Gilbert did this particular exercise in the brick manufacturing unit. Now all these pointed towards the importance of giving man his importance, so that by that little importance you give him, he'll be able to leverage and come out with a higher production. Today that's what we are doing in global working. Look at the way some of us are working. We stretch ourselves, isn't it? Now why is it possible? It's possible because we are able to do it today because there are many things available, many facilities are there. And when we keep on stretching, we go beyond certain boundaries. Right? Some contributors like Elton Mayo, Mary Parker Follett, Abraham Maslow, Douglas McGregor, Chris Argyris, and many others emphasized through their findings the impact of the human element on workplace productivity. We have already learned it in Principles of Management. I wanted to connect that with this discussion which we are having right now. Okay, friends? Taking it further. There were some assumptions on which the scientific management movement took place. Some assumptions. The first one is organizations are social systems. I've already explained this. Every organization is a social entity. There's a give and take of society and organization. Interdependency principle. Second point, people are motivated by many needs. Lots of needs we have. I'm motivated to buy this particular product because of this reason. After that is over, some other needs come up. Needs are multiplying all the time. Right? People always do not behave in a rational or logical manner. Very important. We do not behave rationally. I'm good to you. If we are scientific, if behavior is scientific in action, when I'm good to you, you have to be good to me, but we are not. I am very horrible with you, yet you're good to me. Children with their mothers. Isn't it a fact? Right? Now, this is something very amazing about human beings. We expect people to be scientific in their behavior, but they are not. We are not scientific, that we do not realize until we go through our own introspection. When I go through my introspection, I realize, oh my God, I myself am not scientific. I am not behaving in a predictable manner. So how can I expect the other person to be scientific and predictable? How can I expect when he is good to me, I am not good to him? So how can I expect that when I am good to him, he has to be good to me? I am not saying that people have to just not have expectations, but I need to have an openness. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, no disappointment. I need to move over. And when you move over, you realize that there is something else that actually happens. To my mind and my experience and my role as a trainer for so many years, one thing I have experienced which I can share with you is that behavior is scientific. What goes around comes around. Which means I am good to Jayesh. But Jayesh is not good to me. Is my goodness lost? No. But somebody else, Sachin, is good to me. My goodness which I gave to Jayesh has not gone waste. It has come through some other person like Sachin. Some people call this spiritualism. Some people say the whole, we are all connected. It may be, maybe not. But the point is, make it experiential understanding. So, if I develop a habit of optimism in the most bleak situation, it's my choice, mind you, then what happens is, gradually optimism becomes my habit. When optimism becomes my habit, I'm able to attract optimism and optimistic situations and people to me. A very important learning. Now when that happens, I start realizing, oh my God, people are people. So why should I expect logic from them? Why should I expect only emotions from them? We are a combination of these two. There's an important learning for managers who are always logical. They drive things logical. A person may not be in a mood to work sometime. Accept it. Why do we want to make people work under pressure, and in that pressure in which they work, they goof up things. Instead of doing a good job, they don't do a good job. Why do we have to pressurize people beyond 5:30 or 6 o'clock when you know that they've done a good job throughout the day? Leave him alone, give him a rest. These are easily said, but they are not done. I tell this to many organizations where I train. I said, why are you having this mania of going into logic all the time? Logic is important for driving companies, but there's a human being also who's driving the logic, and we go through fatigue. I can't keep on talking to you. There's a time when I need a break, and I do take a break. And if I don't take a break, the quality of my communication will be very bad. I won't be able to reach out to you what I need to communicate to you. Now this is a reality which we need to accept, and today's HR and today's organization fortunately have realized it. And that is very important. It is seen in the way employee welfare is given to many employees in many organizations, good organizations. Right? People depend on each other for work, the interdependency principle. Informal groups in a workplace decide performance behavior to a large extent. Very important point. There's a separate chapter on this in the textbooks. Formal groups versus informal groups. An organization is a formal entity. Formal means what? There is a goal, there is a vision, there are some legitimacy of operation. It's got a legal status, it's registered, it's made a promise to the society saying that we are into this business, so we will deliver these goods at these prices, at these quality. So everything is structured. In that structure, you and I go in and we start working. When you join an organization, you can't choose your boss, you can't choose your peer, you can't choose a subordinate either. But after joining an organization, you suddenly start realizing that there are some people who are like me. And you start realizing there are some people who like the type of food I eat, they come from the region where I come, so you start forming what are called as informal groups. Informal groups come together by themselves. And when informal groups come together, they are having free communication among themselves. And they stay together. They have a cohesive force among them. You can watch it in a company canteen, in the mess when you go in the afternoon to have lunch. You don't find the people from all the people from the same department sitting there. No. You'll find people from different departments coming there, all the different, what I call it as apna types coming together. They all come together and they have a very informal team sitting together and eating. At that point of time, if somebody else from another informal group comes there, all the conversation stops. Am I right? So they will not allow other groups to come in, because here there's a free, unthreatened communication which they do. Now these informal groups, the point says, decide performance behavior to a large extent. Informal groups have got a lot of energy. They can make or break an organization. So don't ignore informal groups. At the same time, don't go along and disrupt informal groups. You cannot avoid informal groups from happening. It is like somebody falling in love with someone. You try to really pull them apart, they'll come more in together. Informal groups are cohesive entities. And these entities cannot be separated by force, by regulation, by rules, by putting barriers. In fact, they will revolt back. What is important is understand that informal groups are existing. And if you're a proactive manager or a proactive management, you will be actually drawing information, drawing a lot of energy from the informal groups, bringing them together, creating linkages and making the goals happen. That's a sign of a good leader. Okay friends, teamwork is essential for success of an organization. Unless we work in teams, we are all interdependent. My work is a part of the work of 3 of us here. It's a teamwork of 3 of us. Sachin is here, I got Jayesh behind the camera and I'm here. If this teamwork doesn't happen, we can't work. Only Jayesh no, only Venkatayar no, only Sachin no. It's a teamwork. Since it's a teamwork, our behavioral dependency on each other is also very important. We treat each other well, genuinely we treat each other well because we respect each other's role. That's very important. Okay friends? Then we have job satisfaction gives rise to higher performance. What is job satisfaction? Job satisfaction is subjective. I am enjoying my job. It's the satisfaction I am deriving because I have an attitude towards my job based on the values which I am cherishing. And when I have the job satisfaction, nobody can stop me. The surroundings don't matter. The people don't matter. What matters is inside me there is something that keeps me alive. Even in the worst of the conditions. Job satisfaction is an attribute primarily coming from here, and then it is about external conditions. The really highly motivated people, they exhibit job satisfaction and they live with what is called as a morale. Morale is very high. It's nothing to do with motivation. Motivation is very elementary. Motivation is you give me this, I'm feeling motivated. You don't give me this, I feel demotivated. Morale is coming from within the person, regardless of what's outside. Because morale is coming from an attitude which he creates, he chooses. Thus, the human face to the organization was created. First time they said that, oh my God, human beings matter. And these are all the various things about human beings that is important to be understood. That's what they did. Now, the most important part of this chapter is about the contributory disciplines to OB. There are 5 contributory disciplines that we study to understand human behavior. 5 pure science approach. So those 5 pure science approach are listed here: psychology, sociology, social psychology, anthropology and political science. It's there in your book. I think it's page number 30 or 32. It's a table on the left hand side. Right? Now what are these things? It simply says that if you watch a person's behavior, his behavior is impacted by, it could be impacted by any 5 of these factors or all the 5 in certain proportions. Watch a man's behavior and the behavior is a display of 5 factors which are coming at the same time. One factor is the psychological factor, the mind. There's a science of the mind. And what does the science of the mind do? When I am having some issues, I've had a bad day at home early morning and I'm coming out, my psychology will affect my behavior. What is going on in my mind, my thoughts, the way I language the world. And the study of that is a pure science called psychology, which we are using in the study of OB and derived forms of OB in the form of clinical psychology, social psychology, different forms of application. Now that is a human aspect, internal aspect, which drives his behavior. One indicator. Second indicator is sociology. As social animals, we people are moving with people. And when we move with people, our behavior is slightly different from when we are alone. If I talk to you alone, you will display a certain type of a behavior. But when I ask the same question to you in a group, you may give a different answer because there is a certain amount of group impact on people. So there's a sociological part of your behavior, there's a psychological part of your behavior. And the third one is social psychology, the combination of these two. When we are in a group, whether it's a formal group or an informal group, there are certain people who influence our thinking and actions. These I call them as proxy leaders. P-R-O-X-Y, leaders, proxy leaders. Now what do these proxy leaders do? These proxy leaders, they've got a very good communication skill and they've got a conviction capacity to convince others. So they will start coming out with ideas and suddenly you find that the group is all clustering around them. Let's say 7 or 8 friends come together and then they say, let's go for a film. There'll be one guy who will say, let's go for this film. And so everybody will follow him. For a strange reason, in every group there emerges one or maybe more than one proxy leader. All may not be leaders, one may be a leader. That leader will control the psychology of the individual in the social setting. The group is a social setting in which he will control the psychology. That means he will capture their mind. In extreme cases, this person can either take the whole group towards glory or he may take them toward doom. We have the case in history of Hitler. He used social psychology by brainwashing people. He captured their minds. And by doing that, he brought the whole nation to doom. Right? Social psychology. So it's possible that a person's behavior is driven because somebody says something and he sticks on to that. He believes in that somebody. His mind he doesn't use. Permit me to say this, my dear friends. Cultural trainings at home, religious training. In extreme cases, this can actually make you and me go through this. We get captured by what is being said. We don't test, we don't rationalize, we don't think for ourselves. Lots of things we do in behavior which are driven by social psychology, by bodies, by people who influence our thinking so greatly that we don't even stop to think for ourselves. Next comes anthropology, the study of mankind over long periods of time. The growth of mankind from the old Stone Age person through the various processes we have come to become the 21st century so-called modern man. And as we are moving, there are changes in the way group behavior happens. The type of behavior that was exhibited by our parents when they were young is different from the way we exhibited behavior when we were young. The way our children are going to be exhibiting the behavior today is different from the way we exhibited. So with the change of time, mankind or men start adapting to newer pressures of social living. And in this social living pressures, they go through certain types of a behavioral change. Imagine you're sitting in a time machine and suddenly you go back to 18th century. And when you go back, or let's think of a hilarious situation where you're sitting in a time machine and you go back to the days when there was Ramayana and Mahabharata. And see the type of dialogue we have heard in the television. we used to say, Virajiye, what's baitho? All very, very nice type of a slow motion dialogue. In the 21st century, we would never think of doing that. When we go there, we may get de-oriented. In a time machine, if you go to the past, you may get de-oriented. The purpose of discussing this is to make us understand that people behave the way they behave at certain point of time because of the social conditions. And when the social conditions keep changing, the behaviors are bound to change. An important input to understand what could be the future of, say, the present generation who are young, 30 years from now, they could be behaving differently. And if I have an understanding about the anthropological impact on the behavior, then I am able to predict behavior more or less. And prediction means I am able to warn myself about future eventualities. And the fifth contributory factor, last one, is political science. When people meet each other, they have their needs. And for the purpose of fulfilling my need, I manipulate you and you manipulate me. Manipulation is not a bad word, but manipulation is something that's happening. Political science is a scientific approach towards understanding how people manipulate other people and situations to get their gains, to get the gains done. Now, this is given a bad name by all of us because we feel manipulation is bad. And people are coming along and telling me, sir, I don't manipulate. Everybody manipulates. Everybody manipulates. Okay? So, my behavior is a sum total of little bit psychology, little bit sociology, little bit social psychology, little bit anthropology, and little bit political science. Having said that, I would like to also add that out of these 5 elements, 1 or 2 may be predominant in my behavior throughout. Now, that's a very, very important understanding. There are people whose behavior is totally psychologically driven. Everything is based on psychological driven. They think and think. They don't act. And they think what others are thinking about them. And their whole life is centered, their whole behavior is based on psychological drivenness. Even if they are put in a sociological framework, things may not be working. Such people are psychologically driven. They have made a choice to be psychologically driven. The day they want to change and they come forward, they can become somebody, but it may be too late. So watch this, okay? These 5 drivers help us to exhibit our behavior. These are the ones who are actually making our behavior happen. Taking it further, friends, the significance of OB is explained here. OB in HR contributes significantly to the performance and effectiveness to people and organization. Here, HR is not human resources, it is human relations. Okay? The human resources are the sum total of potential and acquired skills and knowledge. Potential is something which is with me, acquire is what I get from outside, and then the knowledge is what I keep on gathering all the time. So I am a sum total of these 3 things. I come with some basic intelligence. That's my potential. I acquire knowledge from outside and I use my intelligence and I develop skills. And then more knowledge keeps coming to me and this is a compounding effect. Okay? Skills need to be improved through proper training. I've got to improve my skills. Skills improvement means what? What are skills basically? Skills are nothing but information or data or some type of a body of knowledge plus repeated actions. I have some idea about what is cycling, but I've read it in the Google. But reading on Google doesn't make me a cyclist. I have to sit on the cycle and do cycling. During that time, I'll fall down, I'll get up, again fall down and get up. Repeated actions will make me a cyclist. Now, only being a cyclist is not enough in industry. Meaning, only learning basic skills are not enough. The skills have to go to higher levels. Now, that is where the skills development comes. I must be able to do other types of cycling, higher cycling. That's more important, right? Similarly, man management and interpersonal skills play an important role in handling complex work pressure. Easy to understand? I'm not explaining this. This activity is called management development, an important part of OB. Now, management development means what? I am at a certain position wherein I'm performing very well. But I need to have some inputs on human behavior because I'm going to a higher level. For example, a person is a supervisor, he's able to handle say 20 people, 20 laborers are below him. Now he is getting posted to a managerial position. Now when he goes to a managerial position, it's important for him to develop certain skills which he doesn't have right now with him. Now to do that, he is sent for a management development program, wherein structured approach plus practical approach both are combined. Okay. Now these are some equations written from some books. I would rather not take them very literally, because these equations we can keep on devising. It is the understanding behind the equation that is important. This is not arithmetical equations. These are conceptual equations. HR and OB make effective organizations. It starts with knowledge into skill is equal to ability. Ability means I can do it. Now when will I say I can do it? When I have the knowledge about what I can do, and I also have the doable actions, the muscle to do it. The intellectual capital and the muscle which I have practiced. Okay, I have an ability to do cycling when I have the knowledge of cycling and I have the skill of cycling. Simple. Attitude into situation is equal to motivation. There's a situation, an event, and my attitude is equal to motivation. I'm talking to you right now, there's a situation here. And my attitude, if I can talk for myself, you guys have to decide finally. My attitude is one wherein I am enjoying what I'm doing right now, I'm into it. And that plus into situation is giving me the motivation. I think I'm motivated. Right? Taking it further, we have ability into motivation is equal to potential performance. My ability, I can do it, and I am motivated, put together is the potential performance. That means I have the potential to perform given this particular task. And this potential performance is the human performance into resources is equal to the organization performance. I have the potential to perform, somebody else also has the potential to perform, and what we do, we have to come together, put the resources together, act upon it to give the organization performance. There are ways of interpreting this. I want each one of you to look at the substance behind it. Don't take the words literally. Don't go to the dictionary and look at the dictionary meaning. These are conceptual understanding. And from the conceptual understanding, you must learn to build up your own behavioral performances. Right? Now we come to the famous Douglas McGregor's theory X and theory Y. These are basically motivation theories which we'll be covering in a later chapter. Now it's a very simple thing. Douglas McGregor studied organizations and he came across classification of two different types of organizations, classification of two different types of managers, classification of two different types of employees. He called one as theory X approach and the other one he called as a theory Y approach. Theory X assumes the average employee dislikes work and he tries to avoid it if he can. Theory X is an approach which says people are not self-motivated, they will not work on their own, we have to push them because they dislike work. It is assuming that people dislike work. He has to be pushed into working effectively through punishment or rewards. You have to keep on putting the stick behind him, otherwise he will not work. He seldom takes risks, is not ambitious and gives high importance to his security. He is a person who is snug as a bug in a rug. That's the expression I use. Okay, he sits there and he says, I'll not move a bit here and there, I'll only do this much, and he's too scared to do anything. He doesn't have the potential. So such a person, I have to keep on whacking him, I have to keep on giving him the stick, only then he will work. It's an aggressive, autocratic form of a manager. So such organizations are called as theory X organizations. They generate theory X managers, and the behavior of the employees in a theory X organization is one of lassitude, laziness, not willing to work, they have already given up. Even if there's a self-driven person coming and working there, he will gradually become theory X employee. A theory X employee is the type of an employee who displays the behavior which a theory X company assumes. I'll repeat. A theory X employee is an employee in a theory X organization who displays the behavior which the theory X organization assumes. Very simple. If you are a go-getter, you are a self-driven, intelligent person, and you can do it on your own, and you join a theory X organization, if you stay there, the theory X assumption drives certain actions, and in the bargain, what happens to you? You start slowly start losing your confidence, and you allow yourself to be controlled. And you start losing your identity if you don't make a choice. And this has happened to a number of people. They come from an open culture organization, which is a theory Y, which I'm going to explain now. And from the open culture, they join a culture which is totally controlled culture. And they get oppressed. They suddenly start losing their skills. They feel, oh my God, where have I come? And if they don't take a quick decision, their discomfort is lost, and their life will they start losing interest in life itself. Many people have gone through this, and many are still going through this, right? Theory Y assumes just the opposite. People naturally put in efforts to accomplish tasks. They need not be pushed into it. They're self-driven. They're good people. They're people who don't shirk work. They like work. They're self-driven to solve work-related issues using their own creativity. Employees do take risks and stretch themselves to action when they see a meaningfulness. People are self-driven. They feel creativity. They are willing to push themselves beyond the boundaries of their profiles. That's a theory Y. Now, when I'm talking to you, many of you will feel that, oh my God, theory Y is so pleasurable, so nice. I would rather say a manager needs to adopt both the practices, theory X and theory Y. There are times when you have to put the stick. There are times when you have to give the lollipop. Both have to come together. So it's a situational type of a changes one needs to make. Only theory Y can also create trouble. Only theory X does create trouble. Combination of these two is what gives you effectiveness. Now here are some points given for the theory X and theory Y managers. A theory X manager is hard-driving, ambitious, result-oriented, demanding, autocratic, does not delegate work easily. He doesn't trust people. He assumes that people are all kamchor. Okay? Theory Y says balance emotionally, moderately or low ambitious. He leads a balanced life, trusting towards people and delegates work. Two opposites. Now we are talking about, we come to the concluding the chapter, prospects of the 21st century. What is the future of this human behavior in the 21st century? Where are we going? Organizations in the 21st century are perceived as global entities. We all know it. They are compared with their counterparts globally and corrective actions taken to create uniformity. What do you mean by this? There's an organization X in India which has got certain types of HR initiatives taken here. There's an organization Y with whom they are dealing, and that Y is a very important customer of theirs. Y has got certain HR practices which are very good and it's working there. So when X, this Indian company and the company from abroad, both are working together on a global basis, the HR of Y, the good of HR of Y can be taken by the good of HR of X so that they start interacting with each other smoothly. So we need to learn from others, in short. We need to learn from others how to treat people who are the main assets of organization. Since automation and computerization are taking over manpower, already taken over, human resources need to develop alternate skills. Today we are into the knowledge management era. There was the industrial age, the marketing age, the information age, and we are entering into knowledge age. I'm not sure whether we have already entered or not, but the knowledge age is supposed to be the age where human beings will be having all the information in the world, but they must know which one to take, in what proportion to take decisions. That's a tricky thing today. See, when I was doing my engineering, at that point of time to do an engineering project, I had to go from pillar to post to collect information because the information was not easily available. There were no computers, no Google, no nothing. Today it is just the opposite. Today I have a younger member in the family who was doing his engineering, my nephew, and he couldn't complete the project because of information overload, and he did not know which information to take for doing his project. So it's hilarious to know that during my time I did not have information, so my project got delayed. Today my nephew is not able to finish his project because his project has got too much of information overload. He does not know which information to take, which information is authentic. So in this age, human resources have to learn knowledge management. Taking it further, organizations are getting leaner with fewer jobs than before. Automation has come in. We have the satellite networking, all different types of technologies come in. So we need less number of people, including in manufacturing units and chemical plants and all that. And when people are less, those less people have to be multi-skilled. They have to be multi-skilled. They have to learn many skills. Workforce consists of both sexes, women with getting equal opportunities as men. Today in India, for example, the sex ratio is 1:1 almost. When I started my career as an engineer, the sex ratio was 90 to 10. There were, for every 90 male working, there were only 10 women coming to the office. And today it has increased, it's compounded. Right? Relocation of people and jobs are routine. Those who adapt to relocation rise to senior positions. Relocation and traveling for that matter is so common today. You know, you're working here today and suddenly you get posted to Hyderabad or you go to Bangalore or some other location abroad. Relocation has become the way of life. People are traveling a lot and working cross country, cross borders, cross state. Right? OB has major challenges which are more significant than before. Now, in all this, what is the concept? Human behavior. If I'm traveling from city to city, country to country, meeting different people with different cultures and different behaviors, what should I do? The only common constant is human element. Understand what they are saying. Study their cultures. Learn to adapt with them. Give them the comfort which they deserve. Take the comfort which you deserve. And then you work harmoniously. When we do this, OB has got a significance. If you keep your mind open, not only on the job that you're doing, but also on the human beings with whom you're working, regardless of cities, states, countries and boundaries, then you'll find that organization behavior means a lot to you. It will make you develop yourself. It will make you realize how humanity functions. Thank you very much, friends. Thanks.